The African Transformation Movement says it's dismayed by the cruelty meted out to Busisiwe Mkhwebane. She was voted out of office by a majority of 318 parliamentarians yesterday. The ATM rejected the impeachment inquiry report looking into Mkhwebane's fitness to hold office. The party also called for a secret ballot for the impeachment but was dismissed or denied. Let's speak now to the ATM spokesperson Zama Ntshona. Zama, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Just firstly, of course, we heard from the economic freedom fighters who, like you, rejected the report in Parliament yesterday. They said that they would actually take it on judicial review. Are you in support of that?
Almost definitely. You know, when you look at how the public protector performed, because you do not just look at that in pockets, you must look at it holistically. 58,964 cases and losing 8. Does that warrant an impeachment inquiry? 3 consecutive clean audits. Does that warrant an impeachment inquiry? And even worse off, in just a few weeks' time, how do you even impeach somebody who is not even going to have an impact on the remainder of the days in office? So for us as the African Transformation Movement, 1, there was no reason to start with that we had this particular inquiry, and 2, it is just inhumane just to impeach an individual after working so hard for the country because you just want to teach everybody a lesson. So we totally agree. It must be reviewed.
All right. So, you know, a lot of people would say that many political parties at some point during the time that even the Constitutional Court would find that some of her, in some of her reports, she had a lack of understanding of the law, you know, would be enough to say that a person who has a lack of understanding of the law shouldn't hold an office like the Public Protector's Office. I guess you disagree now?
Very interesting. The Western Cape High Court made a decision that the president was retaliatory when suspending the public protector. And then subsequent to that, the Constitutional Court made a decision contrary to that of the Western Cape High Court. It happens in law. And it does not make the judges of the Western Cape High Court incompetent. 7 out of 58,964. That does not constitute incompetency. This is why we say this was a neatly put together strategy to deal with the public protector, because the public protector was touching the nerve. The public protector was touching the untouchables, including the president.
All right, just a question, you know, there was a time when, you know, the Freda Dairy Farm investigation by the Public Protector's Office happened, and at some point, you know, she exonerated some politicians, including the former Secretary General of the ANC, Ace Magashule, during that time that she was investigating. Many political parties came out to say that was also a political decision. So I think, you know, a lot of South Africans are wondering whether those who are going against yesterday's report are genuinely feeling as though she is being victimized, or is it a matter of having a common enemy?
Well, look, as the African Transformation Movement, we do not believe that there should be any individual who is above the law. Everybody must be subjected to the law equally so. Even if it's the president, former secretary of who, we do not care. But all those individuals must be subjected to a process of law. For us as the African Transformation Movement, we believe that whenever these issues are raised, merits and demerits of the case must be looked into, procedure must be looked into, substance must be looked into. And in the event that they are found wanting, then those individuals must actually be brought to book and actually face the music. Now, each decision must be based on those 2 things, procedure and the issue of substance. So for us as the African Transformation Movement, we are clear on this. If in any case, substance and procedure, the individual is found wanting on those, the individual must face the music. This is why we do not agree with Advocate Galeka when Advocate Galega, even though when you look at matters of procedure, the president did not at any given stage declare the money, did not possess the license to transact in a foreign money. When you look at Section 96, subsection 2A on issues of other paid work, conflict of interest, PRECA 34, subsection 1, 34, subsection 4E, the owners of the reporting being in the member of the close corporation. When you look at all of that, we say substance and we say look at procedure. And if found wanting on those, the individual must face the music. And if the public protector in these instances is found wanting, she must also account. But what we do not agree with is that in the 8 cases, you then constitute a view that holistically she's incompetent. No, we would never agree with that.
Are you not concerned as the ATM that this procedure, or this process rather, the Section 194 inquiry and her being the very first to actually be stripped off the title of public protector, and how people voted yesterday, some of the political terms that were used by the different speakers, has now sort of politicized the PPSA, that office?
You know, when President Zungula was speaking yesterday, this was exactly what he was alluding to, the lynching of the public protector, sending a very clear message to those who are going to come after her and everybody else who dares to investigate a sitting president and those surrounding the president. Their fate would be like this. They would forever be reminded of the fall of Mkhwebane. When they start to say, the Constitution thus saith, they would say, tread softly, lest you find yourself being a Mkhwebane. This was a lynching program of epic proportions to send a clear message so loud that for generations to come, this office will never operate the same. In fact, it started when the Constitutional Court started saying pay from your own pocket. And you would remember the former Chief Justice Mkhwebane was very clear on this, and he said, you start on this route, we are going to have a problem. And this particular vote yesterday sealed the fate of anyone who thinks or
But when it comes to that, besides the individual, the public protector, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, don't you think all in all, including politicians like the president, don't you agree with the point that was made by one of the speakers yesterday that the right to have access to taxpayers' money for your own legal pursuits, etc., cannot be an open-ended right? We are already a country struggling with finances, and that right cannot just be open-ended. Don't you agree to that? Besides the fact that this was the former public protector, let's just look at everybody, including the president, ministers, etc.
The question that needs to be asked is, when the individual was making that decision, what was that individual doing? Were they making tea in their own home? Were they mending their affairs at home?
So your point is about capacity. Yeah. Your point is about the fact that it was in their capacity as an official.
Yes, as an official. That's what exactly that we are making. So you can't then make an individual pay from her own pocket when an individual has been in an official capacity doing her duty. And remember that public protectors don't just up and wake up one day and say, oh, there's a case that I must attend to, and attend to it. Members of the public bring these cases to the public protector, and then the public protector will then follow up on that as mandated to do so. So when activated, they have to respond.
Zama, I just have to ask you one more question, just very quickly, if you can be very quick with your answer. Are you concerned by a statement that was made by the chairperson, Richard Yankee, yesterday? Towards the end of what he said, wherever we made a mistake, we will learn. Do you feel as though that opens up the inquiry to the fact that there were mistakes made?
Oh, there is no doubt there were plenty mistakes made. Him just saying it just is a rubber stamp to what we already know already. If you look at how unfair the process was, take for instance the fact that when towards the end of the inquiry, the
but what about all the time that they gave her and the deadlines that they moved forward to give her time to respond to them verbally and in writing? What about that? Do we not take that into cognizance?
But we must look at it in times when they did that, she was stripped off her legal team because she was not going to be paid anymore.
Right.
So even with extensions, you have disempowered the public protector to actually respond in a way. So if they give one advantage, they take one advantage away, which cancels the advantage that has been given.
All right, Zama, thank you very much for your time and for speaking to me here. Zama Ntshona, he's the national spokesperson of the African Transformation Movement.